And the next story is Reddit. Reddit officially filed their IPO. So they file all the documents, and I'm reading one of the documents, which is called an S1, which has all their financial information that they need to make public and register with the SEC and all that stuff. So I don't have time to go through everything, but I just took a couple of screenshots of the most important, or what I thought was the most important parts of the S1. And then maybe we can quickly go through it. And this isn't going to be a deep dive or anything. This is just very like rough and quick and dirty. Yeah, anyways, the statement of consolidated operations, their income statement essentially, showed them making $666 million in 2022, which went up to $804 million in 2023. So their revenue increased nicely, and their net income, or net loss, I should say, they're still losing money. So in 2022, they lost $2.77 per share. They cut that down to $1.54 per share in 2023. So although they're losing money, their net income is still growing, which is nice. And yeah, I'm not going to go through all the rest, but the important parts is that all you need to know, they're growing, but they're still losing money, but they're growing. And if you look at the charts of the daily active users, they're growing that as well. In fact, there's a pretty nice bump from just recently from Q3 of 2023 to Q4 of 2023. So, for in terms of logged in and logged out users, it's about like half and half, almost exactly half and half, actually, if you look at Q4 of 23. And yeah, their user growth is pretty good, and it breaks it down between the United States and the rest of the world. And especially in the United States, you saw a bigger jump in Q4 of 2023 in daily active users. But the rest of the world, daily active users is increasing as well. So the next one is quarterly ARPU. So if you don't know what ARPU is, ARPU stands for average revenue per user. So it's a metric that is often used for social media platforms. So, for example, for Facebook, or Meta, as they're now called, ARPU is a very important measure for them as well. And yeah, so they're making around, if you divide their kind of revenue by users, they're making around $3.42 per user per quarter. So this is their quarterly numbers. And then if you see, the United States ARPU is about $5, but the rest of the world is only coming in at about $1.34 as per the latest numbers. So yeah, a couple of comments on that. The ARPU is rather low if you know anything about social media companies. So if I remember correctly, in countries like the United States or Canada, or so-called developed Western countries, the ARPU for Meta was around like anywhere from like $50 to $70 like per user, and as we can see, Reddit is only about $5.50 something cents per user, or I guess this is per quarter. I don't know if the 50 to 70 was per quarter per year, but even if it's like per year, I think it was per quarter. But even if it's per year, its magnitude's lower than what Meta is bringing in, is what I'm trying to say. So people are just not kind of willing to pay for advertisements and stuff on Reddit as they are for Facebook. So or I mean Facebook related products, so that includes like Instagram and Threads, if anybody still uses Threads. But yeah, I mean, let me toss the question back to you guys though. So first question is, are you excited about the Reddit IPO? Why or why not? And second question is, do you think that Reddit is going to be a successful business, and is this a business that you would invest in? So let's start with those two questions. Anyone wants to take it away?
Yeah, sure. So, first thing that I automatically thought about right off the bat was If they were to IPO, for example, are they classified as like a, like a mid cap stock or like a higher cap? Like, what do you guys think? Like,
Oh, actually, I forget the total valuation of the company, but I would imagine that it would be in like the several billion-dollar range, right? So it wouldn't be like, the biggest IPO ever or anything, but it would be a, mid to large cap tech company.
yeah, right. I see, I see. So, on that note, yeah, I guess it is pretty exciting for Reddit to go IPO and stuff, but in terms of performance, it's questionable. It's hard to say because I think Reddit in itself is extremely like niche. There's only like a very specific group of people online who specifically uses Reddit on a basis, and I'm not really entirely sure. You guys can explain it to me afterwards how Reddit sort of makes money, I'd imagine from ads, but I don't know about any other revenue sources. But for example, if I were to use Reddit, I would use it for um, help me find parking in downtown Toronto. And then chances are someone already thought about it like 3 years ago and has a spot that still works to this day or something. Or is Avatar the Last Airbender like worth it? You'll see a thread. Yeah, I personally think it's great. No, it's not good. Yes, so on and so forth, basically. So it's very niche. I don't find myself on it every day, but I know there's a group of people who are worth it, but are on it. But I think it's slower demand in comparison to other social media platforms like Instagram and etc. So yeah.
Yeah, just before I toss it to Tristan, just to answer your question earlier about like revenue streams, yeah, it's mainly through advertising. However, I do think that they are trying uh, to have like some other sources, right? Like there's a Reddit premium subscription, which it's your typical premium experience where you get no ads, and then you get like special badges next to your name or something like that. I don't have it, but as far as I'm aware, that's what it is. And then also, I think you can pay for coins, which these coins can buy you, special badges and like special awards to give out to people. So there's like a silver award, there's a gold award, and there's a bunch of other ones where, like, if you see a comment that you really like, then you can award that comment, and then it's kind of like a super upvote. It'll bring that comment closer to the top, and you can, like, receive a reward. It's kind of it's kind of a like a honor to, I guess, to be awarded something on Reddit for making a comment. So it's like a system where it helps good comments float to the top, and also it's a way for people to like kind of give back to the community, I guess. So yeah, I mean, there's different revenue streams, obviously, but it's mainly still advertising. So yeah. Anyways, let me toss it to Tristan. So, are you excited about the IPO, or what do you think about Reddit in general?
Um, I think Reddit's fine. I don't use it a whole ton. I mostly use it for deal hunting. I find that some of the deal Reddits are pretty helpful, and I think sometimes just for general information, it can be pretty helpful for that. Like random stuff that someone random will have posted, kind of like how Dom was saying, um, with like the parking. With regards to buying the stock, I'm not a big fan of stocks that post a ton of losses, and are going to continue posting a lot of losses. The fact that they're moving towards profitability is a good sign, but at the same time, I think that it could really go it could go up, it could go down. I don't think that I would be buying it on the IPO expecting a bunch of hype to get me to a huge return. Like I don't see myself putting a humongous amount of value behind a Reddit investment. But I could see at a later date, if they continue to improve their situation, I could see them being a pretty reasonable company. Just maybe for me, not yet.
Yeah. So one other thing that I wanted to ask, I guess, one other question is: do you think there could be potential downsides to IPOing a company in terms of, the user experience and stuff, right? Because like I think we've all know at least a couple of examples where, before, when a company was private, it was like founder led and it was all fun, but then you let in a bunch of public investors who could just be anybody. It could be like retail investors, or it could be other activist investment firms. And then you have all these shareholder interests, and the company kind of starts to lose its way. So do you think that that's maybe a potential risk to Reddit, that the IPO could be a catalyst to ruin it, right? And the reason why I bring this up, I didn't just make this scenario up out of nothing, is that I think of OnlyFans, for example, right? So OnlyFans, they had this. In case you guys don't know, they had this IPO like kind of plan, and then one of the things that they said that might happen is that they're gonna start to remove adult content from OnlyFans, because advertisers and like just investors, Wall Street doesn't like companies that promote adult content and stuff, because it's not advertiser friendly. But it's OnlyFans, right? Because like all they do is adult content, so it's kind of like their IPO, if they had followed through with it, which they didn't end up doing, but if they had followed through with that plan, arguably that probably would have like ruined the platform, right? Because that's what, like, nobody goes on OnlyFans to watch like how to build a shed, or something like that. Like there's a specific purpose and specific kind of demographic and reason why people go on OnlyFans, right? Just saying. So not that I have any personal experience, I don't, but like it's just yeah. Anyways, so I think that one of the issues with Reddit is that Reddit has not safe for work content too, right? So what if this IPO, one of the kind of things that happens as a result of this IPO is that they are going to get rid of not safe for work content? Like that's might be a risk to Reddit, right? So what do you guys think could be a risk to Reddit after this IPO?
So like my personal thought process with all this is a company will IPO and shareholders will buy into it. And I think as a companies start to cater more towards the shareholders to like maintain their buyers to want to buy more. And so I guess if you're catering to your shareholders more versus when you're private, when you're not, it could affect certain things. Maybe perhaps what you're mentioning, I won't say it, but it might go away or something, just because advertisers and shareholders don't want it. So like, yeah, it could be a problem. That could be their downfall. I guess this is how society is, unfortunately. But yeah, it could be their downfall. So
Just call
yeah.
it non-advertiser friendly content.
Yeah, what Andy said. So that that goes away, could be bad. Yeah.
Shareholders aren't a big fan of content that doesn't make them money.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is, right? It's like, certain types of content makes more money than others, and people can like have all these like arguments as to, like moral arguments as to like, adult content is still content, but it's just the way that things shake out, right? It's kind of like, for example, if we talk about finance on YouTube, that's the kind of topic that makes the most amount of revenue per click, or revenue per mille, they call it, like RPM. And if you talk about something else, if you talk about like, war, which is a pretty popular topic these days, but I know like advertisers don't like it, right? So people can talk about it, but some people might even get demonetized, or even if you don't get demonetized, your revenue per mille is a lot lower than if you were to talk about finance. So yeah, I think that's like kind of one risk to Reddit as well, where if they IPO, then certain types of content might start to go away on the platform, and that might piss off a lot of users. And yeah, basically what I'm saying is that personally, I'm actually not too excited about Reddit. Like, I hope they do well, and I do have a Reddit account, as well. So, I don't want the platform to fail or go away or anything like that. But yeah, I'm probably not going to buy into this IPO unless, unless it's a really good like value, which if they're money losing right now as well, I just don't see the appeal, unfortunately.